So hi guys, so today we would be looking at yet another machine learning research paper. This is from Jianningsin View by the Lambda Group, and this has been published in the Nanjing University, China, and its name is Introduction to CNN, that is Convolutional Neural Networks. So basically, I won't be covering the research paper here, but I would be covering the part that is required while you start up in machine learning and all the required part. Because if I come to the mathematical approaches which have been explained in this research paper, it would take around 3 to 4 hours to explain all the things in deep, because understanding written things is much easier than understanding things by putting it on a paper and explaining to someone else. So I would just give you the link to this research paper. You can go there and yeah, study about that in deep. But I would be following some part of this, that uh, topics that I have included in what are basically tensors, what things are of mathematical connections have gave a rise to tensor, and how CNN works, how the layers work, and how pooling work. Basically, these 3 to 4 topics I would be covering. So yeah, so coming to the starting of this research paper, that what is tensor and vectorization. So everybody is familiar with vectors and matrices. We use a symbol shown in boldface to present a vector, and these concepts can be generalized to higher order matrices. So basically it works like this. The relationship between each of these pairs is that both they require the same number of indexes to refer to a specific element within the data structures. So in mathematics, whenever if you have some basic idea of maths, or you have studied some basic linear algebra in your high school or secondary school, so you must be knowing that the indexes that require 0 are known as scalar, that is normal number in computer science, but you call them scalar in maths. If you have got some basic idea in physics, scalars and vectors, there was a chapter like that. And when it comes to indexes required, that is one, then we call it array in computer science, and we call that same thing vector in mathematics. And when the indexes required becomes 2, then we call it a 2D array, and that is called matrices. If you don't know about matrices, I would just show you what basically I'm talking about. Yeah, so you can think it something like this. uh, yeah, and I guess my drawing is not that bad. So suppose I put in it 2 1 3 4 6 8 9, let that be 2 1 and 3 6, and means you can understand that this is how a matrix works. Like, it's a 2D array. You can see like this, you can see like this. And when it comes to a normal vector, we can talk something like this, that is an array. This is an array, you can see. uh, I would 1 2 3 means this is an array, and this is what we called, as you can see here, this is what we called an array in computer science and a vector in mathematics. And this is what we call 2D array in computer science, and a matrix in mathematics. Many people also call it matrix even in computer science, and it's totally fine. It's totally dependent on your choice, that whatever you want to call it. But matrix is what images work like. Suppose if here I would go to a dog image, and if I go here and I open this image in a new tab, okay, so you can see this image. So basically this image works like this. uh, yeah, so in this image there must be some matrix here in which all the pixels of this particular point would be have been written. And similarly, this whole image has been comprised of pixel. If you zoom in, you would realize that all these things are comprised of pixels, and pixels work on this matrix stuff. And this is here where all pooling and stuff comes, and I would explain you in detail about how we actually calculate all that in TensorFlow and all. And then after it is written that then the indexes required become more than 2, that is n. In computer science we call it nd array, in mathematics we call it nd tensor. You must have got an idea from where TensorFlow has been derived, because Machine learning and deep learning require a lot of tensor stuff, and from their TensorFlow name has might have got originated. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, uh, experience says that. So you can see when when d is equals to 1 and order 3 tensor reduces to a matrix and all. Uh, so if you want to know some basic about tensor, I can tell you like that. uh, if I take, yeah, if I take a vector like this, and if you could give it that to TensorFlow, then it you would ask for the degree. Suppose you have given it like this and you are asking for degree, so this is easy. You can directly say the tensor, the model would, if you ask the program that what is the degree of this, so it would directly return that it is a 1 degree. And if you return something like this, it would say you it's a 2 degree. If you return something like this, usually things don't get to call it would 3 degree. So this is how all this tensor stuff and matrix stuff works like. uh, Now, so you must have got an idea that the indexes required in 0 in computer science are called number, mathematics scalar. 1 are in computer science are called array, in mathematics they are called vector, and indexes that are required 2, they are called 2D array in computer science, and mathematics they are called matrices. And matrices plural form, and the indexes that require n number are called as ND array in computer science, and ND tensors, or you can normally call tensors of specific degrees in mathematics. So this is all that has been written here. Tensors are essential in CNN. The input, intermediate representation, and parameters in a CNN are all tensors. Tensors with higher with order higher than 3 are widely used in CNN. So that's what I told you. Where the complicated part starts, because if you see this, whenever we talk about high level models, they are machine learning models, we won't be requiring 1D tensors or 2D tensors there. Definitely we would be working on big stuff. So there, yeah, ND tensors come to play, that is more than 3. For example, we will soon see the, yeah, so this is in the MATLAB. You can see this is a normal one, and an example of the tensor to conversion is given. If you want to the matrix into a column vector in the first column first order, you can write it like this. And vector calculus and this chain rule, this is simple differentiation and integration. If you don't know about differentiation, you can go and search about differentiation and take a crash course about that. If I give you a really brief introduction to differentiation, it works something like this. That is d by dx of, if you want to do of x square. If you just want to revise, I would give it, it works like this. It is 2x. So similarly here you can see the differentiation of z with respect to y has been given as the integration, that is tensor here has been deployed here. So in other words, the differentiation of z with respect to y is a vector having the same size as y, and the ith element, the ith element is differentiation of z with respect to differentiation of y in respect to the same size of I. So this is how all these things work, the partial differentiation and all. I would recommend you to take a crash course on basic linear algebra, that is differentiation and integration, because yeah, that is required in ML and DL both. If you are doing some research part or even some basic stuff, sometimes it's required. uh, I guess most of the things are already present in the libraries form. So yeah, coming to the next part, that how CNN works, I would just take some time to yeah, draw things like this. Suppose you have, I have already told you like this. uh, there are a lot of layers inside a CNN model. I would take some different color here so that it's easy for you to understand. So there are a lot of layers inside a CNN. You must have seen when I have made some models in TensorFlow, that there were a lot of layers that I have deployed in it. And how those layer works, some are hidden, some works like normally, and some work in a really different way. For example, here is this is a tutorial, all credits goes to TensorFlow for that. Here you can see the model was like this. The layers were I put the layers like this, that is layers.convolutional 2D, max pooling 2D. Coming to the max pooling part, I would tell you in detail how max pooling and all things work like, and how the segmentations of these pixels work like. So you can see once we have deployed all these, you can, if you want, you can count right now, and if you do model.summary, you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6, that is 1 2 3 4 5, 5 layers have been deployed. 1 2 3 4 5, these 5 layers are the layers that have been deployed by us. So yeah, similarly here you can see, I would choose okay, right. So you can see it works like something like this, and you work on parameters, specific parameters of how layers interact with each other. You can, yeah, and after that simply you call the summary, and you can see how many layers, the way layers have been deployed to each other, and this finally gives you the output, whatever the output that is, specific this or specific this, means totally dependent on how you have described the labels and all. So yeah, coming to this part, you can see the input image. I have given it as a horse image. I have taken this image from Google randomly because this was something I wanted to connect you with. So in convolutional layer, you can see the input image is given like this. These are the feature maps, that is convolutional. These, then you do pooling, then convolutional, then pooling, fully connected, and output. If you go here, you would realize that we have done something same: convolutional, pooling, convolutional, pooling, and convolutional, and finally after this we see the summary, and we add the flatten and dense layer, and then yeah, these are required, I told you in the last video, and finally we train a model and we get the input, we get the output. So yeah, this is how you basically work like, you you put the convolutional layer, you put pooling, then you put convolution, then you put pooling, and then you flatten and put the dense layers here at the dense layers, and after that, yeah, this is how you get the output. So you can see here the dense layers, to perform classification, dense layer take vectors as input, which the while the current output is a 3D tensor, and first you will flatten the 3D output to 1D, and yeah, all this is done. You have added 3 layers of flatten and dense here, and after that, when you will see model summary, you would realize that okay, things have been changed. Because of that, the parameters values and all have changed. You can see 30 30 32. Similarly here, all the things have been modified, and once you have done with that, you finally you finally get the output. So coming to the next part, yeah, this was I was talking about. If you consider this as, this is convolutional layer, you have plotted all the things here and here, and after that this is the pooling layer, you have plotted things here, and similarly you pass all the parameters through all the layers and train your model, and after you get the output of all the things once you have passed. And yeah, this is the final, this is the part where you train everything, predict everything, and evaluate on the basis of your layers. So it's always been considered that while you put up the layers, there are a lot of things you need to keep in mind. Overfitting is something that you need to keep in mind while putting all the layers, because data needs to be really clean and labeled according to, so that the layers and all that can handle it. Yeah, so that is the data part that I've already covered in the previous research video. uh, and here you can see the layers dot convolutional layers and pooling has been acting like this. So coming to the part how all these pixels and all work, for that I would take an example here. uh, I guess I have an example in the beginning of the slide. Yeah, so I would take some different pen, that, yeah, I would take red here. So suppose this is an image, suppose this is a dog image. I would take another dashboard here so that it becomes quite clear. Suppose this is a dog image, and this is a dog image. Inside this there's an image of a dog. So at every particular part there is some pixels, and there are some there must be some difference between all the pixels. So while pooling, how does things work? Suppose this is an image, these are the pixel part. I would go for the pair of 4, okay, and I would first take this part, that is 181, 237, 229, 181, and out of this I would take the max one. So which is the max one? With the max one here is 237. Yeah, and then I would go forward, that is here, and after this I would see here that what is max in this 237, 170, yeah, again 237. So I would write 237 here. I would go forward again in this, and I would see which one is highest here, that is 223. Hence I would go here, down here in the pair of 4, 229, and it's obviously 229, so I would simply write here 229. Similarly, I would go here, and here I would realize that it's 181, hence I would write 181. In the next one it is 108, I would write 108, and after that in this I would write 158. So yeah, it's 158. Sorry for my bad writing. I am not used to write in Google Jamboard. uh, and in this it is 93, and here it's 71. So this is how all the pixel part and pooling and all the layers part work. Now what after this? Once you have made this, we would run another one inside this, the highest one in these four. So in these four it is 237. It's obvious, 237. And after that when you go to the next four, here also it's 237. So I would write 237. And after that in these four, here you would see it's 229. Yeah, and here in these four you would realize it's 181. Yeah, so this is how the whole part is working. Like, this is the final result of yours, the pixel part and all this pooling. So I would take you to the, yeah, easy to the clean one. Yeah, the convolutional neural networks work like this. The layer types. You have given the input to the image. This is the input to the input to the model, and that 2 by 2 max pooling is done with the stride of 1. You can see this is how these four the part of this, and after this the 2 by 2 max pooling is also done of 2. Yeah, you can take this as a 2 by 2 pooling, but you would realize eventually if you go to the first frame things work quite similarly. If I do the same for that, I've done the same to this. If you want to do a 2 by 2 pooling to it, you can do to the 2 by 2 pooling to this also. You take the 2 and then you take the pixels similarly like this. So yeah, if you take this part, this enormous part, and then this enormous part, and then this one, this something like that, so you would get it. Because you can see here these in this one 237 has came, so these four have been taken because 2 by 2 max pooling has done with a stride of 2, and after that another part is taken like this, and it's taken from here, and then another part that is 2 by 2 pooling with a stride of 2. So yeah, this stride matters a lot of how you are working on this. So yeah, oh okay. So after that, once you get the pooling results, you are really ready with the example part. You get ready with the result part, and you are good to go. So you can see here when we are defining all that pooling, it's written here 2 by 2. If you want, you can even do it 3 by 3, 1 by 1, but yeah, it's all on the data. What data you are providing and what result do you want, it's totally on that. If we are working basically on a normal cats versus dog, or human versus horse, or anything like that, it's good to use 2 by 2. Yeah, or you would go with that only. So you can see here all the things that I have told you. You have made a data set. I would change the color of the pen so that it's easy to understand. Yeah, you have imported the TensorFlow data set. You put the test parameters and train parameters. You define the model, and at the defining, all the CNN part comes into play. You have put the layers and all that. After that, you combine and you evaluate. So if you want to see the ReLU part, it is really, yeah, you can CNN in a nutshell. I would go here also. So a CNN usually takes an order of 3 tensor as its input, an image with H rows, W columns, and a 3 channels, as I told you before. Higher order tensor inputs, however, can be handled by CNN in a similar fashion. So CNN works in a very specific way. Either you give it X image or Y image, it would work in a really similar way. One process step is usually called a layer, which would be a convolutional layer, a pooling layer, a normalization layer, fully connected layer, a loss layer. As I told you here, it works like this. Yeah, you can see the convolutional layer, convolutional pooling, fully connected, and output layer. Yeah, so you can see, if you want to see the mathematical proof and all, you are really, you can go here and read it all. So here all the mathematical this gradient part and all has been tell. The error back propagation, the last layer's partial derivative, too easy to compute. This is really included in TensorFlow. The ReLU layer, yeah, you must be saying here the activation, that is ReLU layer 64, you can see. So if you are really new and you want to know what is activation, you can go to Keras activation. Yeah, you can go here and you would see the Keras activation functions, that how all these things work, all the part the Keras API use. So basically activations can either be used through an activation layer or through activation argument supported by all forward layers. So yeah, it's really not important to use the activation layer prof through activation layer. You can even use activation arguments, and yeah, TensorFlow already provides you with all. So the ReLU function, so ReLU functions works like this. It applies the rectified layer, linear unit activation with default values. This turns the standard ReLU activation, the element wise maximum of 0 and the input tensor. And modifying the default parameter value allows you to use non-zero thresholds, change the max value of the activation, and to use a non-zero multiple of the input for the values below the threshold. So you can see the input here, you can see all the part that has been given activations.relu, and you can see the results of that. So yeah, it works like that. It basically converts. You can see minus 10 has been converted to 0, minus 5 to 0, 0 to 0, 5 to 5, and 10 to 10. You can see the non-zero thresholds and the non-negative part. You can see the ReLU activation max uh, x comma 0. So yeah, it is basically used for the activation part. There are a lot of functions present in there are a lot of activation functions. This was ReLU. You can go for sigmoid. It's you can even see softmax. So yeah, you can, it's totally your choice to go with which one according to your data and model which you are working on. So you can see soft sign functions, tan function, and yeah, tan is a really famous one. It uses really a nice mathematical basically it's a hyperbolic tangent activation function. I've studied it about it, I guess, in my higher secondary. So yeah, it's, you can study about them. uh, you can see the ReLU does not change the size of input x and y share. So it's all written in really mathematical language. You can see the same thing, max of 0 and x. Yeah, so it works like this, because you can see when we were looking here, it was what it was basically doing. It was seeing that let me get to the function. Yeah, and as you can see, it basically takes off x and 0, max of, what is maximum? 0 and minus 10. It's obviously 0. It's returning 0 here. So yeah, so you can read the convolutional. What is convolutional? I tried to cover the really in a really easy way, because all that mathematical terms, you can, even if you want, you can go to the propagand part and you can study about them in detail, the derivation, higher linear algebra. But yeah, for the people who are really new to ML and DL, should get an idea. You can see here all the things that have been mentioned here are all related to the ImageNet. You can see batch normalization. I already covered all that part in the normalization part in previous videos of TensorFlow and uh, the research paper. So this, I won't make this video long. I just wanted to tell you about CNN and pooling, of how does it works. The research paper, I took some inspiration from the research paper. Yeah, so credit goes to it also, and you can check it out. It's really amazing research paper, the mathematical part and derivation. But yeah, this is just not solely based on research paper. It's about CNNs and pooling and all, how these activation functions work like. So yeah, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you like it. You can go and study about the research paper in detail, and yeah, you are good to go. Thank you and have a nice day.